This is a mock interview conducted by ForumIAS Academy at New Delhi. The interview panel includes eminent academicians, retired bureaucrats, and other luminaries. The objective of the program is to acquaint the candidate with the format and expectations of the personality test conducted by UPSC.
So, may I come in?
Please come.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
This side.
Thank you, sir.
Utkarsh,
Yes, sir.
from Jaipur.
Yes, sir.
You were born in Bharatpur and you studied in Jaipur, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then moved on to Kota for your engineering. Did you go through the Kota mill of getting selected?
So I took coaching in Jaipur only, but my engineering was from Kota.
So you didn't need to go through all those factories of Kota.
Yes, I didn't go in Kota factory actually.
And how have you been keeping yourself busy after becoming a engineer?
So after that, I started preparing for UPSC, and since then I'm preparing for UPSC.
When did you pass out?
So in 2019.
2019?
Yes, sir.
So this is your first attempt?
No, sir, third attempt.
But first time qualified for the interview?
No, sir, it's second time.
And what happened the last time?
So my mains marks were not good. In personality test also I got average marks. So
And I'm sure it will be much better this time.
yes, I'm also.
Come, Doctor.
So, you are a student of Political Science and International Relations?
Yes,
right?
sir.
Well, NATO has offered to India that if India is interested, we can admit India into NATO. How do you react to this? Should India join?
So I think India, like our honorable foreign minister also said that we do not believe in alliances, and it has been the policy of India since independence that we maintain strategic autonomy and we always keep away us from military blocs. So I think we can increase some kind of engagement, but we should not or we will never join NATO. That is my understanding.
Then what is then Quad if we are not interested in any alliance? So why we are there?
So I think it's not a military alliance, it's more of group of
That
democracies.
India says it's not military alliance, but everybody thinks it is military alliance.
So everybody is free to have their own perception, but we say that it's group of democracies that are increasing cooperation in various sectors, including technology and in free and open Indo-Pacific. So according to me, that it is.
What are 3 lessons that we can learn from this Hindenburg and Adani affair?
So firstly, I think for our regulating agencies that we can be more vigilant, though they are doing their work, but they can be more proactive. Secondly, for I think some minority investors also, that they need not to be panic so much easily, that there would be in future also short selling kind of things, but they need not to be panic and lose their money. And so I think main lessons these can be.
Why the Sensex is showing so much of fluctuation these days?
So it's mainly because of, I think, firstly, Ukraine-Russia conflict, and secondly, the global economy is going through slowdown, and the market works on the perception. So they also feel that, and thirdly, that the banking crisis in US that is going on, that is also reflecting on the market.
We often listen to, when we talk of mutual fund investment and the stock market, that all investments are subject to market risks. What are those market risks?
So mainly the fluctuations and volatility that are, because mutual funds also invest in equity and debt. And equity, these shares mainly depend on market perceptions. So if market becomes volatile, so the investors can also lose their money. So that is why these warnings come.
These days we are listening to about that like rural Manrega, we must have also urban Manrega. How do you respond to this proposal that let the same type of scheme be in urban areas also?
So I think it's an idea that we can think over it because in fact in Rajasthan we have Indira Gandhi E-Shahri Rozgar Yojana, and which is I think is doing a good work. And because in the kind of that in scenario where global economy is not doing good, if we are able to provide employment to the urban youths also, then I think it would only help our economy. So we can think over it.
So, what's the degree of unemployment in the country? Any estimates?
Yes, sir. So according to recently CMI report, it's around 7.8.
The highest in the last 3 months.
Yes, sir.
But do we have any, because CMI proceeds on a sample size.
Yes, sir.
And rightly so, you can't produce weekly report or a monthly report on an exhaustive side. But why are we having to rely on these CMI report only for a country as large as India?
So we have our own report, Periodic Labour Force Survey, PLFS report that also gives unemployment rate or employment rate. But that is, I think, in the quarterly report, and government can also work on that we can release monthly report through PLFS only.
Utkarsh, the last report was produced by government in 2017.
Yeah.
The government refuses to release the report on employment or the consumption.
Okay.
The consumption level will also tell you that is the economy doing well or not. After 2017, the government has not released any report. The PLFS is only giving you the participation levels. What is the participation level of women? What is the participation level of youth? But it does not give you the overall macro unemployment or the employment figures of the country. So it is merely CMI is just doing a patchwork, but then if you the same patchwork, if you keep doing over time, then at least you get to notice the trend. You may not believe in the exact figures, whether it's going up or down. And when you go for the interview, just remember that you are not going in defense of the government. They admire you for your frankness. And as a civil servant, when you join, you may have to follow the government guidelines, etc., but that's subsequent. But as of now, they're looking for your independent mind of, please, carry on.
Hello, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Can you tell me what are the objectives with which G20 was formed?
So initial objective was it formed due to global financial crisis that came in 2008. So to bring cooperation in the top 20 economies, so that more economic stability can come and the cooperation among the macro indicators can come in.
Okay, so is the stated objectives still the same, or have they been expanded?
So overall objectives are same, but the Western countries they're using it for geopolitics also. Like for example, we have seen that in last 2 G20 meetings, they are using it for Ukraine-Russia conflict, and Indian government has said that it's not a platform for geopolitics, so we should stick it on the economy part only.
Okay, and environment, etc., climate change, are
yes,
they also being discussed, or they are still off the table of G20?
Yes, sir, they are being also discussed, like government.
So
Indian
there
government
is a gradual expansion. Politics aside, there is also expansion in terms of
yes,
what all is on the table of
yes,
discussion. All right. And do you think that G20 is fulfilling its objectives?
So it's doing some work, like it is bringing all the leaders on table, and we have some kind of cooperation. But the stated objectives are not 100%. They are not achieved because the kind of global world is there. It's also very difficult to have cooperation among countries.
Okay, can you tell me where you think that it can be improved, or where cooperation needs to be, further strengthened? Do you think the economic criteria, economic issues that were there with which the original mandate was, is that being fulfilled?
So not entirely. That is also not fulfilled entirely. That because we have seen that after COVID, we are looking for the pandemic recovery, the global recovery, but some significant achievement has not been achieved. Though there are some steps have been taken, like last year, global minimum tax topic was discussed, But much more needs to be done, like for semiconductor crisis, countries need to cooperate. So more cooperation is needed, that I think.
Okay. There was a very major development in the Middle East. There was an agreement between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Can you elaborate what was the agreement about?
So the main agreement was that it was brokered by China, and the Saudi Arabia and Iran within 2 months would open their embassies in each other's country. And it was also implicit understanding that Iran would not allow Houthi rebels to fire on the Saudi soil, mainly the oil fields.
So they have said they will not interfere in each other's affairs. And do you think that long-term peace is possible between Iran and Saudi Arabia?
So it looks difficult for now because.
And why do you say so?
So because the kind of rivalry they have, because both Iran and Saudi Arabia want to be regional leader and want to be leader of Islamic world. So it feels difficult, but if they stick to this agreement, because both are facing a little bit, especially Iran is facing economic crisis. So there are possibilities also that there can be peace.
And does India benefit?
Yes, sir, I would say that if there is stability and peace in Gulf, then our energy security, our diaspora would be much stable. So I think that would be beneficial to India.
And if it is being brokered by China, do you think that China will counter India's interest in both these countries? Like India is, engaging with Iran for Chabar port and their connectivity, projects as well. Don't you think China will interfere and try to, cut down these projects or try to, bring their own companies there at the cost of Indian efforts?
So I think that is one concern, that China is increasing its presence in the Middle East. But I think we have a very good relation with both Saudi Arabia and Iran, and overall Gulf. We have a stable relation. So I think in long term, and we are also taking steps in the West. So I think in long term we would be able to manage China, but it would be a cause of concern, and we should be looking.
So we have to be more actively engaged with both the countries.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my last question to you. Right to Health Act passed in Rajasthan. Why are doctors protesting against it?
So doctors' main concern is that it will lead to bureaucratic interference, and the right to health is a responsibility of government, and they are shifting it to the private sector, which will lead to overburden of private sector, and ultimately the clauses are such which might lead to losses in the private health enterprises. But like today only, the late night, there has been agreement between government and private sector that most of the private sectors would be out of this bill. Therefore, now this strike has been withdrawn.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
all.
Thank you.
Utkarsh, if I say there never was a good war or a bad peace, what do you make of this statement?
So I think what I understand that the war which is fought in the basis of that we will bring peace or goodness. For example, America invaded Iraq or Afghanistan. So it was not a good war. Ultimately, it resulted into destruction of those countries. And there was never a bad peace. So I think it reflects that peace is in the benefit of the global world order.
So do you agree with this statement in totality?
So not 100%, but yeah, mostly I think.
So if you do not agree, give us some examples of good war.
So for example, India-Pakistan war of 1971, it was for benefit of both Bangladesh as well as India. So it was on basis mostly on the humanity ground. So I think that was a good war.
Okay. So you have studied political science as your optional. Tell us something about Rawls' idea of justice.
So Rawls' idea of justice says that we need to be, it's idea of social justice, which says that the people, those who are at disadvantage, at lower end of society, or those who are at disadvantage, society or government needs to provide some compensation to them. So he gives like his three main lexical principles. So first is that maximum liberty, second is maximum equality, and third he says differential principle. So in this differential principle, he says that those who are disadvantaged, they should be given some kind of affirmative action so that they can also come into mainstream.
What is this veil of ignorance?
So wheel of ignorance was a method which was given by Rawls only. He says that in wheel of ignorance, people are not aware about their skills as well as skills or ability of other. So whatever decision they would take such that it would come in the benefit of whole humanity or whole group. So that would be the win-win situation for all.
Okay. So you like to study follow international affairs.
Yes, sir.
What do you understand from polycentric world order?
So polycentric means that where multiple poles are there and no one country is dominating the world order.
That is multiple.
Sorry, sir, I'm not able to.
No problem. Why was Indus Water Treaty recently in news some time back?
So it was in news because India invoked Section 12 of Indus Water Treaty and sent a notice to Pakistan to demand change in Indus Water Treaty because Pakistan was not fulfilling the criteria of it.
Okay. Utkarsh, my last question is a situational question. You have opted for IPS as your second preference. Suppose you get that and you become SP of a district. And just now you got this information that there is a riot situation in your district. And it's a confirmed information, correct information. You need not check the veracity. Which will be the first 3 phone calls that you will make subsequent to getting this information? You understand the situation?
Yes, sir. So first phone call would be to whoever the force chief. Means though I am the force chief, but first to the force that they should go in the right area and should take control over
the local SHO.
Local SHO, yes, sir, to our country. Second, my phone call might be to district magistrate. That because there might be need of Section 144 or such things, and thirdly, might be to so some politicians that they can appeal.
Don't you think you need to brief your superiors as well? So if I were you, I would have made the third phone call to my IG or DIG.
Yes, sir. That.
Thank you, Utkarsh. That's all from myself.
Just sit in front of a mirror and talk.
Okay, sir.
पागल नहीं हो, एक आप आपस से ही बात कर रहे हो लोग, but you are testing yourself.
Yes, sir.
You know what you look like and others, but all the best. You're very knowledgeable and all the best to you.